Hi, I'm Indra Marpong and you're watching See Today. Now, going to talk about hydrogen today, and who's best to talk about that than the Professor Eniya Listiani Dewi. Professor, thank you so much for being here on See Today.
Thank you, Mas Indra.
So it's interesting to see you already have your bachelor in engineer, and you follow up with your master, and then you have your doctorate, and you're a professor, and you've been studying this hydrogen. How is the journey for you to become one of the pioneer on hydrogen fuel? What do you want to call it? Researcher or?
Yeah, a researcher.
Okay.
So when I graduate from Waseda University, they're doing undergraduate, bachelor, master, and doctoral degree. After I got the doctoral degree, I'm directly back to Indonesia and start with the small research about the fuel cells component that can convert the hydrogen into the electricity. So start from that, making the prototype of fuel cells in many size, and then after that we also want to generate the hydrogen. We use water, we use waste from industrial waste can be generated to the hydrogen and then converted to the electricity. Mainly, it starts from 2003 in Indonesia, so it's quite long. At that time, if I talk about the hydrogen, everyone not knowing well about that. So it's difficult to explain that the hydrogen is the future. There is the important things that we can use the free carbon in the atmosphere, and we can create the electricity. We can generate the electricity from the free carbon fuel. So that's the interesting point that I found, and then we start to make a research from the prototype, and then making the the journey is from the component until the real prototype, like vehicle. We start with the motor vehicle, and then doing also the 3 wheels vehicle, and then 4 wheel vehicle, and then we have a long journey of it.
Now, how was the journey? I mean, you mentioned earlier you got your doctorate and you went straight back to Indonesia, and then now you're the Director General for New Renewable Energy and Energy Conservation. How was the journey from 2003, I guess, all the way to at this point for you?
Yes. After doing so many research, then I got the professor research from the government, and then that was on 2014, I guess. And then, I'm doing the management as a deputy chairperson for the BPPT, the Agency for the Application of Technology, and then now becoming National Research and Innovation Agency, BRIN. And then after that, I'm back to research again for several years, and becoming the Director General at here.
Now, it's interesting you mentioned you already done your research in 2003. We're talking about more than 2 decades right there. But renewable energy become a hot topic here in the country just the past decade. We're talking about 10 years. So when you first started, what inspired you to keep growing? I mean, for 10 years of like not as if there's nothing, or nobody's really understanding. You mentioned that earlier, like people having a hard time to understand it. So what keeps you going?
Well, because I like it. And then my passion actually on the renewable energy. I like to be thinking about the clean environment, and I'm really passionate on it. Then I'm continuous from the research until what we have here, and then this is my honor to be as a part of the renewable energy. And then now I'm becoming the policy regulatory, and in this recent years there is many issues about the energy transition, And of course, back to 20 years ago, I'm talking about the hydrogen and no one believe it. Uh, so I'm making the visual so everyone knows. So now is the interesting things that in this year we will have a new national policy, national energy policy that mention about the hydrogen and ammonia and also nuclear as a new energy. So that the first step of Indonesia that we start to use the free carbon energy in our national energy policy.
So it's a new policy gonna implement it. Can you mention? Can you tell us why hydrogen? Why is the alternative energy, and then why do we need it? And then how far are we at this point to get there?
Well, the hydrogen is, some people say that it's still far away, but I think it should be start from now because we have abundance of resources that can convert it to the hydrogen. So the hydrogen, what benefit is that we can create from everywhere. We can if we have a water, we can create the hydrogen by using the electrolyzer, and we also, if we have a waste, we also can create the hydrogen. So we are becoming independent of energy. So we can create from our own. There is no depend from another countries that support us, and maybe like a gas or like oil that we imported, and then we can create by ourselves, by our nature. And then, of course, there is no carbon. So that's the most beneficiary. And I think that we can use the hydrogen as a power. So basically, the hydrogen now is knowing to be raw material for industry, especially on the fertilizer industry. Indonesia have a big demand of the fertilizer, and then they create from the ammonia. They need the hydrogen. And then we have 1.5 million ton per year that we need to become a fertilizer, and then we need more on hydrogen to support it. So hydrogen is knowing to be the raw material for industry. And then the another one is used as the raw material for margarine, for detergent, and so on. So we are already use the hydrogen, but the use of hydrogen to be an energy is maybe the new for everybody.
Oh, now that's interesting. Is there a type of hydrogen that better or more sustainable, and especially for us here in Indonesia in that matter?
Yes. Actually, we can create the hydrogen that produced from the renewable energy. So once we have water, and then we can do electrolysis process that needs the electricity from renewable. The electricity is come from everywhere, but we can choose that the electricity come from renewable, especially for solar cell, or maybe we can generate from wind energy, we can generate from another resources from renewable, then we can generate the hydrogen. And I think it would be sustained. We can create from renewable, so that would be sustainable energy. And the important thing is that now the point that we can start to use the hydrogen in our energy sector is the initial step. So, but all of the countries outside Indonesia talk more about the hydrogen uses, and because of the Indonesia has abundance of resources, we can deliver the hydrogen to the global supply chain. That's a potential to do that. And I think from the excess of our renewable right now in Indonesia, we can generate more than 30 million ton a year. So that's quite huge, and then we can export it, or we can use it domestically to replace the coal uses to replace the diesel uses, then we can use more green fuel. Yeah.
More renewable energy. That's interesting. Now, where are we at this point with the hydrogen energy? And at the same time, what are the challenges to get there more and more?
Yes, the challenges is the price and the infrastructure. So now we are using the hydrogen as raw material, and then we are not yet becoming the country that use the hydrogen in energy. But in our national energy planning, we will start at the 2040 to use the hydrogen on our grid. So it's still 15 years, but in the 15 years, 5 years as initial, start from now, and then we can do an initial and we can build a more pilot project. And then after 2030, we will start to commercialize it. But I think in the next 5 years, we have a good chance that we can create an export market, because in another country, like in this Indo-Pacific region, the only off-taker is just 3 countries: Japan, Korea, and then Singapore. That's the nearest country that we can support, that we can export, or we can deliver the hydrogen as a product to sell. And then that's more, I think that's more benefit to our industry, because we can create by our own and then deliver it. Even many people still talking that the hydrogen price is really challenging. We use now we use the hydrogen as raw material to the industry as coming from the natural gas. 100% is coming from the natural gas. So the price is lower, but carbon is everywhere. And then when we talk about the green hydrogen that can create from renewable, the price is still 3 times than usual from natural gas. So those price, even we can create in the 3 times larger, higher price, but we still can sell it to the another countries because it's still acceptable price. That's would be start from, maybe if we prepare in this 5 year, we can deliver on the next 5 year since 2030. And then from 2035, we can entering the global supply chain, and we can create initial domestic market again. And that's why in our national energy planning, we start a big uses of hydrogen in 2040. So that's 5 years step.
So even on the 15-year span, we already have like plan for the next 5 years, getting ready for it, and then production to sell it outside, and then domestic.
Yes,
market
yes, to
follow.
create more income, and then creating the domestic market.
Professor, so it looks like there's already one hydrogen refueling station right now in Indonesia. What does it look like in the near future, and what are we hoping for the future goal on this refueling station?
So Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources have a big plan, the use of hydrogen in the industrial sector, and then also in transportation sector. And of course, we talk about the uses on the power plant to replace the coal in the next future. And for now, we have one refilling station in Jakarta. And I think in our planning, there is a study that create from our team with another academician, that we can have 12 location of the hydrogen refilling station. But start from Senayan that PLN already created, and then in the early next year, we will have also a new one in Kerawang area. And I think in the April, we can have a start to make the hydrogen road test maybe from Jakarta to Kerawang and then Kerawang back to Jakarta. Well, in our big planning, we will have more hydrogen refilling station, and we, as I mentioned, we do more pilot project to create more visual uses that we can use the no carbon as a fuel, the uses of hydrogen as a fuel. So not only talking of the low carbon fuels such as biodiesel, bioethanol, and so on, but we can create more. We already know about the electric vehicle. Now in the next one, we will go to the free carbon fuel.
So you list the regulation before.
Yes, yes. But now from Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, we already published 3 national standard. One is about the hydrogen property standard. Second is hydrogen safety standard. And then the third one is the hydrogen for refilling station standard. So we quite aggressive on it, I think. And the homework is about the pressure standard.
For safety reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so it's interesting. Again, going back, you've been doing this research, you've been in and out, you have to do management work, and then now you back research, and then now you're the regulators. How do you feel about the work, the research that have you done, what the future looks like, and then are there people who are working on to continue your research on hydrogen, and then what do you wish for the future of Indonesia?
Yes, in 20 years ago, I just creating a people that knowing about the hydrogen one by one, but now young generation in the university, now they are independently making the fuel cells. So I'm really happy to hear about it. Now it's young generation really making the interesting point. Several university make the car also, a small car. And then they start to make a competition with another country. So it's very interesting. Then I'm happy, I'm really happy. Not only in the academic region, in academic area, but also in industrial sector. So, well, the electricity company like PLN also interest about the hydrogen. They already have the first hydrogen refilling station in Senayan, and then also the oil and gas company like Pertamina also interest in to create the hydrogen and ammonia. So that's a good thing that I'm now facing it, and since 20 years ago, there is no one believe it, and now they are creating the ecosystem. I think the important thing is how we can create the ecosystem so everyone can do many things.
Can benefit from the whole thing.
Yes.
All right, Professor Eniya, thank you so much for sharing with us on See today. I hope we're gonna see more hydrogen sooner than later. The goal is 2040, if I'm not mistaken.
2050 is quite a big goal, so we must start from now.
Okay, so we gotta start from now. All right, I look forward more on that one. Thank you again for being here on See today.
Thank you, Mas Indra.
That was our conversation with Professor Eniya Listiani Dewi from the Ministry of Energy and Resources Minerals. I'm Indra Marpang, signing off for right now. You can stay connected with us on See Today News and on Instagram @NB. Let's stay connected. Thank you so much.